The things Eddie Money told us shortly before he died. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. Eddie Money died September 13th, 2019. He was 70. And a few months before, I had a chance to talk to him, and he was very grateful on surviving all the excess that he had in his life. As well as all the excess, he had so much success. He had 4 albums that went platinum and 11 hits on Billboard magazine. The platinum ones, his self-titled debut in 77, Life for the Taking in 78, No Control 82, and Can't Hold Back in 86. We all remember some of his big hits, Baby Hold On, Two Tickets to Paradise, which we'll talk about with Eddie in this feature. I Think I'm in Love, Take Me Home Tonight, and I Want to Go Back. We cover a lot of ground with the late, great Eddie Money. We talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the fact that he was once a police officer, all the big hits, regrets, and advice he gives young musicians, including his kids who are also in the industry. Eddie Money on Rock History Music.
What's different about an outdoor show?
I think an outdoor show is a lot better. The sun's shining. You got a great PA system. You do songs like Baby Hold On, Shake and Take Me Home Tonight, Think I'm in Love. People get lit up. It brings back certain memories in a certain time in their life. I mean, my voice is really holding up. I quit smoking. I don't get loaded anymore. I got the kids on stage with me. And I got to find some wood to knock on because the critics have been raving about the show.
How did the TV show on Axis, but tell me how that started.
We did this thing for Mark Cuban. He runs the Dallas Mavericks. He's a big promoter. He's a family man like me, and he said, really think that your wife and your kids are very talented. Would you like to do a TV show? And I thought about it, and I really wanted to help my son's career out. My son's got a band called Des Money and the Fays, and since they don't put CD players in cars anymore, I wanted to do everything for my kid's career. The show is really doing really well. A lot of people really like the show. It's been a lot of fun, and we're getting a lot of great feedback from it,
When did you know, what was the first time that someone told you, hey, Eddie, you got a voice here, you got to do something with that? How old were you when that happened?
Well, I got to tell you the truth. I was singing, Chuck Berry songs and James Brown songs. Before the Beatles came out, I was I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I started singing with a band, and then I was in a band in high school called the Grapes of Wrath, and then I went on the police department, and they moved out to California, and I quit the police department and moved out to California, but they weren't really interested in the music business like I was, and then eventually I got a deal with Bill Graham, and that was like 40 million records ago.
When I heard you really got a hold on me, believe it or not, I was 17 when the first album came out. But when I heard your take on that, my first thought was, oh, that's a Beatles song. Then I realized, wait a minute, that's a Smokey Robinson and the Miracles song.
It is, because we don't go, hold me, squeeze me, all that stuff. We threw all that stuff out. We cut all the fat out of the tune, and I really appreciate that, because that's actually one of my favorite Eddie Money songs, and we do that live, and people really like it.
Yeah, and that's a universal song, too. That's one of those songs that will be played, I think, in 1,000 years, because it says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the original song, right?
Yeah, it says a lot about when the Beatles covered it, and when Smokey Robinson told me that he liked my version better than the Beatles, I said, Smokey, I love you, but I like my version better than your version. Well, I'll tell you, I got a new record coming out right now. I think, I got a guy named Waddy Littell. He's a guitar player, played with Stevie Nicks. He plays with Stevie Nicks. He was out on the road with Joe Walsh. He's done all the recent stuff with Keith Richards. So, my advice right now is, I don't know if the guitar solos on the first record and stuff like that. I used to let Jimmy Lyon take off songs like Jealousy, and I let the guitar solos, extended guitar solos and stuff like that, which it brought on a lot of changes in college rock and roll radio. That's what Brian Adams told me. But I just try to get better and better. We sold close to 35 million records, and I'm very happy that I've done that. The only advice I can give anybody these days is, don't get drunk and drive your car off a bridge, and then don't get loaded and mess up your career. I think I should tell guitar players, learn your scales. If you're a singer, take some singing lessons. If you're going to really take music seriously, you really should, look at it like you would look at college course, Do
you remember your first meeting with Bill Graham?
Yes, I do. He was a great, what an amazing man. I was putting on a one-man show in San Francisco at the time, and I was very, very popular in Berkeley, California, which is a college town. And we had written Baby Ovana, 2 Tickets to Paradise. And what he wanted to do, he wanted to start a record company out. He was a great guy to help his staff. He had a lot of people working for him. And when he started his record label, all he really wanted to do was make sure that everybody in his staff got a piece of the Eddie Money record, which I thought was really amazing. He was a very giving person, you know. If you would have met Bill Graham, you would have liked him, I'll tell you that right now.
It's amazing, you know, sometimes kids today, I'll mention him and they'll say, who is that? I almost feel like saying, do you want to sit down for a little while? Because this is going to take a while.
Yeah, you got to remember, this guy was 14 years old when he walked from Berlin to Paris with 500 kids, and 250 of them died of disease or hunger before they even reached Paris. I mean, he had a really tough childhood. I mean, he was a Jewish kid out of Berlin, and he walked to Paris, and then he moved to New York. I met his sister Esther, and she still had the tattoos, the number tattoos on her arm for Auschwitz. I mean, this was that. And he died tragically in a helicopter accident coming back from a Huey Lewis show, and he's going to be well missed. You would have really liked Bill Graham. I think a lot of people would have liked him. He was a very giving person, and he always gave back to the community, which is really great about anybody, you know. He always took care of San Francisco. He took care of the school systems. He took care of his staff. I mean, he was a good guy. He really was.
You know, when your first album came out, I remember, you know, everyone was mentioning the cop thing, and I remember going, okay, that's a cool side story. But I remember thinking, I could not look at you on that first album and ever think of a police officer in any way, shape, or form. But I thought it made an interesting story because it made people talk. Were you for or against them talking about that, or did you even care?
I thought it was kind of interesting, but I didn't think it was really necessary, because in those days, a lot of people didn't like cops. If they got a speeding ticket or their kid got arrested, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't like the police department. But I'm proud of the fact right now I just did a top cops benefit for all the cops that died in action and stuff like that in Washington, D.C., and I just got a plaque from the deputies, the police deputies of the United States of America, and I'm proud of the fact that I served on the police department. My brother retired. I got a couple of nephews on the jobs. I mean, I really don't. I've got nothing against cops. I got nothing against firemen or certain emergency service workers. You mean I was, you know, my dad was a cop, and you know, he raised 5 kids on a policeman's salary. It wasn't really a lot of money, but I mean, these cops, they work very hard for people. Well, I appreciate that, but then again, you look at people like Oreo Speedway and Styx and Survivor and, you know, 38 Special, all my friends. I mean, they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either, but I am in the Long Island Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is great, with Neil Diamond and Barbra Streisand, and you know, I mean, you know, I come from Long Island, and being that I'm from the, you know, I mean, I'd love to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because, you know, my kids would want me in, but I'd like to see my friends get in before I get in. You know, I mean, people in the, I mean, like, you know, Kevin Cronin from Mario Speedwagon, and of course, Survival was really good. I mean, there's a lot of great music out there, but, you know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they got to take care of a lot of people too. So who knows? You know, if it happens, it happens. But to see somebody like Elvis Costello get in and me not get in, I don't know. I can't figure that out, you know.
You know, in the beginning of your career, was there a time where you really got starstruck? Were you the type of guy that would meet someone and go, I cannot believe I just met that person? Did that ever happen to you?
Yes, I did. I went on the road with the Rolling Stones, and I met Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. And the greatest part about it is, I got to tell you, they were just like regular guys. They took pictures with me. They were just nice people. Then I met Plant, and I met Page in Memphis, and they gave me backstage passes to the show.
What was that like, meeting those guys?
Oh, it was incredible. I met them at a place called Lansky's. This is where Elvis Presley used to get all his shirts made. It's a little shop that he made Elvis Presley shirts. And I ran into Plant, and I ran into Page there. And we talked for about 45 minutes, and they gave me tickets to the show. You know, one thing about musicians, just like you, like people in radio, we all love music, and our whole life is music, and it shows. Anybody that's in love with music and does what you do or what I do, I mean, you know, it's going to wear off on you. It's, you know, music is a good thing. I think music is one of God's greatest gifts. You know what? Bill had nothing to do with that. I was with Jimmy. Jimmy Lyon slept on my couch for 3 years. And he wanted to give me an athlete split that I still can't get rid of, for Christ's sakes. But he was a great guitar player. I mean, we used to have people like Carlos Santana come down and listen to Jimmy play. And then Brian Adams, when Jimmy got tired of playing with me, Brian Adams turned around and got him a job playing with Tina Turner. He was a great guitar player, Jimmy, and I wish him nothing but success, but he just didn't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Some people just don't want to tour for as long as I tour. You got to be pretty strong-willed, and to get out there as much as I do. I mean, I just finished doing 9 shows in a row. That's why I'm so hoarse right now, and I'm on my way as we speak. I'm on my way to the studio to finish up my record.
Tell me about the new record. How did it start? Eddie, you've heard this 1,000 times. You know, artists are going, well, like The Who. They're saying, we're not going to record, people don't buy albums anymore, but the fans still want to hear new music from their artists.
That's very true. And this new record I got, I'm very excited about the record because the songs are really, really good. And I've had the last 3 or 4 years to write the record. And I think that if you have a lot of time to write a record and a lot of time to think about it, you're going to come up with some great material. And I don't want to forget about my son's career, Dez Money, DEZmoney.com. Anybody can Google Dez. He's got an exciting career ahead of him. And my daughter, Jessie's very good. She's going to be putting a record out soon. And my son, Julian's really a great drummer.
By the way, you don't seem like the type of guy that negativity in press would necessarily get to, but was there ever a time, because critics can be assholes, was there ever a time that negativity in the press got to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, my mother's got Jewish blood in her, and somebody made a mistake and said that I was anti-Jewish and said I was anti-Semitic, which is not true at all. I mean, I got nothing against Muslims. I got nothing against anybody. I mean, I'm an American, and I have nothing against Canadians.
Eddie, do you think you'd be dead if you hadn't come clean? You think you wouldn't be around anymore?
Well, I tell you the truth, I had that really bad drug overdose, and I almost died, which was horrible. I mean, I overdosed on fentanyl, which is the same thing that killed Tom Petty. It killed Prince. But this was 30 years ago. But, I mean, I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career. And, I'm sober now, and I take my wife to church on Sunday, and I do everything I can to take care of my children. And I think that's a good reflection on I think the TV show is very popular because I don't think there's anything wrong with going out and knocking down the bedrooms and having a good time. But then again, when you're driving home, I don't want to see anybody out there driving back from my show in an orange jumpsuit. You know, I mean, I want to make sure that everybody gets home and is safe and sound. But I don't knock people that go out and get loaded to see my shows. I mean, I was loaded for years.
I've heard the stories about Take Me Home Tonight with Ronnie Spector. Was she really washing dishes and really not? Her focus wasn't in music at all at that time, was it?
No, she dropped out of the music business completely. And remember, she was married to Phil Spector, and he was so over-possessive, and he was such a madman. It's incredible. I mean, he just used to, lock her up in a room. I mean, she had a miserable life. When I talked to her on the phone that day, she had remarried and had a couple of kids, and the clinking and clanking, I said, have you ever heard the song Too Thick Is Precious? She says, I love that song. I said, we have a song called Take Me Home Tonight, and it's got 2 choruses, and the second chorus is you singing Be My Little Baby, which was her big hit. And she came in and did the video and just really slammed the song and just really brought it home. And you'd love Ronnie Spector. She's such a sweetheart. What a doll.
What do you think the biggest misconception is about you, Eddie?
Well, I am the man with no control. I mean, I've been out there. Now, when I used to work, I wasn't like a Jim Morrison or a Janis Joplin. I never drank or did smoke when I was working because Bill Graham was a very strict manager. But after work, man, I'd be knocking down the bedrooms and hanging out with everybody, drinking for nothing and smoking, going crazy. But, I'm a fun-loving guy. I mean, Where's the Party was one of my big records. I mean, people come to the Eddie Money shows. The promoters have told me that more people drink at an Eddie Money show than any other artist that they have performing for them. I said, what do you want? I got 2 tickets to Paradise. Everybody wants to go.
What advice do you give, younger musicians? What do you tell your sons and your daughter, for instance? What do you tell them to watch out for?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. My daughter is an excellent singer, and she's fantastic on stage. I don't have to tell her anything. You got to figure my kids actually grew up with their dad being famous. But what I tell these kids today is the same thing that my music teachers used to tell me. When I took sax lessons, my teacher would say to me, if you can't play, you don't know how to play the sax. I spent 3.5 weeks learning how to play the C scale just to get in there to take sax lessons from a really good teacher. I tell these kids that come to my shows that are into music is practice your scales. If you're a singer, practice your vocals. I mean, the thing is music is all mathematics, and you don't have to be good at mathematics, but, the thing is, if you want to be a good guitar player, you got to practice. You want to be a good drummer, you got to practice. I mean, I'm always telling my kids, practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
Not that they ever listen to me, but, that's how it is.
Don't you find being a musician and being in front of the stage, and that's longevity in your life instead of sitting in a rocking chair?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, when I took a look at my brother, I mean, he's a retired cop, and he's got 3 or 4 jobs. I look at my nephews that are on the police department. I look people all around me that are mowing lawns and cleaning pools and things like that. I mean, everybody, I mean, if you think about Canada and the United States, people like us, we work very hard to make our countries as great as they are. And I just feel like, you know, I'm into the work ethic, you know. Like when I get off the phone here, I've got to run over to the studio and start finishing up working on my record. Yesterday I had a big production meeting for the Real Money show with the kids. I mean, I'm always working. And my wife, she books the bands, and she looks great. She's really, you know, it's all part of a team. I mean, my kids, they play music for me. My wife helps me out. She books the show. She keeps me, you know, everything. It's all teamwork. I mean, you know, I'm sure the relationship with your wife, I'm sure she's a big help to anything you do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
I mean, behind every great man is a fantastic woman, I always say. You know, that's what I feel like.
Well, I've heard you say before, happy wife, happy life.
Ain't that the truth, buddy? You know that.
Tell me about Baby Hold On. That song stopped me in my tracks.
Baby Hold On is, you know, I wrote 2 Tickets to Paradise, and we had a bunch of everybody rocking all the place. We had a lot of songs that were really good on FM radio, which was in those days was considered like college radio. But I needed a hit for AM radio, so we came up with Baby Hold On, and Jimmy Lyon wrote the bridge. And, you know, for some reason, it was like more commercially viable. It was more, they didn't want 2 Tickets to Paradise to be the first single because the guitar solo was too long. So we wrote Baby Hold On, and it went to the top of the charts, and then we shot the video, and we shot the video on Saturday Night Live. And it was, you know, I was in the right place at the right time. I had a great manager, and people still love Baby Hold On. As a matter of fact, I open up the show with Baby Hold On, and people go nuts.
Valerie Carter, and I know she played with you with Let's Be Lovers Again. She's one of those ladies that had great talent, and everyone talks about her, and we love her. But she's one of those where it did get to her. You know what I mean? It eventually helped kill her. Did you actually get to know her?
Didn't really get to know her at all, but she sang like a canary. She had a beautiful voice, and we did that song, Let's Be Lovers Again. And I really wanted to do the song myself, like an Al Green thing. But she came in and, you know, put the icing on the cake. And she was a very pleasant young lady, and she was very attractive. And, I mean, I liked her. I don't know what happened to her career. I thought she was going to do a lot better than she did. A lot of people in the 80s and 90s, I mean, you know, they started getting out there on that horrible, you know, cocaine. And now these kids are doing fentanyl, and they're doing all these other things. I mean, that's... I'm very glad that I'm glad of the fact that my kids are all still living home and nobody's strung out on drugs. I mean, a couple of my kids smoke cigarettes, which is okay, but outside of that, nobody's really out there ripping off houses or getting DUIs or hanging out with the wrong people, you know?
Yeah, but when you got clean, Eddie, was it hard? Were there people still trying to bring you back in? Did you run into that problem when you got clean?
I run into it all the time. If people today still want me to smoke a joint with them, I have a drink with them, and I just say, guys, I've had enough. I'm not gonna give up 10 years of sobriety because I was in a rigorous and honest program. I mean, and I'm not gonna turn around. And I guess I was kind of brainwashed, but you know, to me, I mean, getting sober. If I would have turned around and started getting loaded again, in other words, if you got 30 days and you clean and sober and you get a 30-day chip, it means the world to you. And if you on the 32nd day you go out and you start drinking again, you know, you're gonna give up the time that you have. You know, I've got 9 years going on 10 years without drinking, without doing drugs, and I'm not going to go back and start all over again. You know, I just can't do that, you know. And I got nothing against people that drink and get loaded at my shows at all. And a lot of times when I'm selling T-shirts out there and there's some people that are too high, I make sure that they get a ride home. I make sure I said, make this couple over here, we got to get them home. You know, I mean, I try to do everything I can. I don't want to see anybody go to jail for drinking and driving or getting loaded. But, you know, on the other hand, I do everything I can to, you know, to keep people as safe as possible, you know. I mean, I've had friends of mine that lost kids in automobile accidents when they were drunk. I've had other friends of mine that had daughters and nieces that have OD'd on. I mean, you know, when you think of somebody, I mean, I got 5 kids, and you start to talk to people your own age that have lost children, have lost nieces and nephews because of overdoses or because of alcohol and stuff like that. I mean, it makes you think, you know. You gotta do your best to be a good dad and a good father, and I gotta set a good example for people, man. To me, it's important, you know.
when you left home, what was in your record collection? When you actually left home, what records did you leave behind that you were listening to? Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, man. I used to love I used to love the Paul Butterfield band. I mean, there's a lot of like Leslie West and Mountain. I mean, I was always a Beatle fan, and I like the Kinks and stuff like that. But I mean, if you think about my record collection, I still got my records that are like 50 years old. I still got a lot of them. I used to like Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. I know a lot of people from Windsor like him too because he's from the Detroit area. So I always loved him. Mitch Ryder, C.C. Ryder, Devil in the Blue Dress. I used to like the Young Rascals, Good Lovin', I Ain't Gonna Eat Out Your Heart Anymore. The Rolling Stones, the Beatles. I mean, really good music. You know that. Well, thank you so much. And that's one of the, I thank God every day because, my music was all about having a good time. And who doesn't think them are loved? Who doesn't want their baby to hold on to them? Who doesn't want 2 tickets to paradise? It's like, I think music should bring a lot of joy to people in the world. And I'm glad that I made a lot of people happy. I mean, every time I open my mouth and I sing the hits, I thank the big guy upstairs for give me the incentive to write them, and my voice is holding up. Having the kids work with me on stage is great, and life is good. I got no complaints.
Remember, if you want to help the channel, we have a PayPal link at the very top of all of our videos. But like our videos, comment on them, subscribe to our channel, click the bell notification, and share them on social media. That really makes a big difference. I'm John Bowden. This is Rocky Street Music. Till next time, take care.